All right, what is going on, guys? It's Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. I'm going to try to make this as short as possible, but there is so much stuff going on all at the same time, it's going to be hard to do so. So I do want to point out, obviously, there is a lot of stuff that is going on right now. And I mean by major events, not just in the last 48 hours, but much, much more than that. But I did want to update you guys. We are switching our studio around so we can actually have guests. So we did not do a show, and we have been uploading the full news to the website, but this is to kind of step in the place of that. If you have not been following anything, or if you've been under a rock, several things have happened in the last couple days, which are really big deals, including a video that came out that almost everybody has been talking about for 48 hours straight. That video was just struck down, and the channel was given a strike for that video. So most of you know exactly who we're talking about here. Again, now anybody else that is using that now under their new purview, if they basically reacted to it, they could also essentially take them down as well. So there's a lot of really crazy stuff going on. So this is why I say it is imperative right now, whether you like Elon or you don't like Elon, that you should be over on Twitter at least to get some information. Most of you, obviously, if you've never liked it or didn't understand it, I would say it's very important if you join just to go and follow. The important part is who you follow. That's like the most important part about being on there. You don't have to participate, but if you have that steady information coming in, then you're going to have a way better off chance knowing what's going on. Again, this is really big stuff. That, I believe, is one of the biggest thing that is happening globally. And of course, what people are focusing on and what people are out in the streets right now are, of course, reacting to all of this cop situation. Now, I know most all of you know about that because the mainstream media is covering that 24/7, so I'm not going to talk about that right now. I don't think that there's a lot of stuff behind that. I'll go over some of the headlines here. Of course, America launches largest ever show of force with Israeli military showing off its most powerful helicopter. Now that right there, headline says, oh, okay, they're doing another drill. Well, right now, as we covered the other night, there was actually an event where one person perished. And we actually said the other night that, hey, we still cover the Middle East because a lot of things can go down there and a lot of flashpoints are over there. Obviously, these two countries have been at each other's gills for a long time. And there was an event the other night. Well, now that's kind of the tit for tat has now happened. And then even the tit for tat has happened. And now it is getting really, really spicy over there. The Russia Defense Ministry frigate test strike capabilities in Atlantic. So they're actually testing this stuff. UKR predicts attacks on major Russian cities. Which, again, that is really, really creepy. Vlad says that the tank promises show direct and growing Western involvement in UKR. Vlad's missile hit the Turkish ship in Kherson on Tuesday. Is the W and the H and the O preparing for nuclear war? I'm not kidding you. You think that would be something else. Is the W and the H and the O, that agency there, are they preparing for nuclear war? I'll tell you why in here in just a second. And Health Body publishes list of medicines for nations to stockpile. They're telling nations to stockpile right now. So wake up, people. There's a lot of distractions, that's for damn sure. And then Denmark calls for mandatory military service for women. Vlad is now at conflict with NATO and the West. Putin has taken conflict in UKR to a different stage. Senior EU official admits following Germany's decision to supply tanks. And then the U.S. monitoring bid to establish military presence in the Panama Canal. That's another big one that most people are just going to fly right over. And then 10 Palestinians killed in deadliest Israel raids in years. That was the TAT. Jerusalem synagogue spree, perishing spree, leaves 7 not with us anymore, and 3 injured. And then amid escalation, all of this stuff that was going on in the Midwest or Middle East, all of the stuff that was going on, the CIA chief had a planned visit. Now, I cannot tell you how many stories I've covered, and it just so happens that the CIA chief happens to have a pre-planned visit there. I'll just leave that there for you to go over in your head. I want to point out right now there are people in most of the one direction leaning cities, including my own in Seattle, that Seattle, Capitol Hill, Los Angeles, all of these cities have people out in the streets about, of course, what everybody is talking about. By the way, if everybody is talking about it, if the media has no qualms showing it over and over and over again, which, by the way, if you see, all of the news anchors are showing and saying the same things. I personally can't stand when I see two anchors, super fake, going, oh, when you see the picture of him and his this and that, regardless of how nasty that is, and that's horrible, the timing of it is just unbelievable. And then the fakeness from these people who do not care about this gentleman or his son or his daughter or any of that else. They don't care. They have a script and they're reading it. None of these people get to show their real self. They don't get to be themselves, especially when you see 40 pairs of the same news people saying the same exact thing. Just tonight, I saw 4 different channels say, oh, and then when you see him and his son, that means that they're trying to grab a response from people and grab that heart. And of course, everybody is going to have a heart-wrenching reaction when they see that. They keep saying, watch the coverage of this and see if you hear this. And it's very hard to, it's very difficult to watch. And especially when you see the pictures of the children. This one was not related to the whole, what color they were or anything like that. It was all the same as far as that goes, but it is pushing this thing against police. This whole thing about anti-police, I'll leave you guys to discuss that. But mostly with this Russian Defense Ministry says that the frigate test capability, that's not the most important. We'll talk about that again in small detail tomorrow. As far as what is happening in the streets right now, they're rioting, but probably for the wrong reason. If you know what happened in the last 48 hours and the information that's come out, I don't understand how nothing and everyone's not covering it and they're fact checking it and doing it with some BS. I mean, like, this is incredible. So if you are looking at the big picture and realize how bad it's about to get, then most people don't need a warning. They don't need advice on why you should prepare. People need to look at what is happening right now. These things that are going on in the streets, this is not what you need to be worried about right now, or at least right this little thing right now. And this is little in comparison to what we could go through. What people need to be worried about is that if that comes out and that does not lose steam, what just came out, then they're going to need something on a massive scale to basically make that pale in comparison. So they will need something much, much bigger for all of us to be grabbed and shaken and make us forget about any of the other things that we just saw. As far as the tanks and everything else that's going on with that, it's very easy for people to get off focus on stuff. But then again, while this is all going on, I don't see one mainstream channel taking a break from the coverage of over and over showing the same clip to be telling you that the W and the H and the O questionably preparing for a nuclear war. Health Body publishes a list of medicines for nations to stockpile in case of radiation or nuclear emergency, as EU warns Russia is at conflict with the rest. That was the EU warning that Vlad is at war with the West. We've already had all of our planes grounded, the biggest grounding since 2001. And that was a glitch. We had all of the stock exchange, or the New York Stock Exchange, that basically shut down. And they said that there was huge movements of stocks. They said there was huge amounts of stocks. They said that was a glitch. Either if that was a cyber event or people were truly getting rid of their stocks before some big event happens, either way, that's scary. I don't believe it was a glitch personally. But either one of those is pretty freaky. But if that was a cyber event, to go along with, of course, you know, if the US had our grounding thing and it was just our system, then that's one thing. But of course, you had a little smaller one in Florida right before that, basically like testing how ours works, right? It goes down and it grounds all the flights in Miami or in Florida. And then all of a sudden, just a couple days later, it happens nationwide. And then it happens in Canada. And then it happens in Manila, or I think it was Manila. But you get my point. This doesn't seem like an accident, right? When you have Davos in that same 3-day period say that there's a 96% chance, their cyber experts, the best in the world, are telling us that we have a 96% chance of a catastrophic cyber event happening in the next 2 years. Why in the next 2 years? I don't know. I don't know where they get this from. But 86% of the business leaders, the same people at that meeting, the most important people in the world, over 3/4 of them thought that the same thing. So 86% of business leaders, and we're talking about the highest CEOs, believe the same thing. So people need to get prepared. If that's what they're telegraphing, then you need to be aware that one of these scenarios is going to happen. You have almost all of the elite people saying that some bad scenario is going to happen. I hope they're wrong, but it's hard to say that they're all going to be wrong. Whether it be WW3, whether it be a financial collapse, whether it be our money just collapsing, or if it be that we have a nuclear conflict, or if we have a cyber event, if we have a grid down scenario. All of these seem like doomsday scenarios, right? This only comes from the fringe parts of the internet, right? Well, now it's coming from the most important people and the most influential people in the world are telling us that some horrible thing's going to happen. And mind you, they can tell us all they want, but it's not going to affect them. They have the most preps out of any of us. They have everything set up. Kara Fuse, thank you for support. Thank you. I appreciate that. And again, I didn't see the other super chat there, but thank you, Kara Fuse. What do you guys think about this? What do you guys think about what is currently going on? Please leave me a comment down below. Our normal show will resume. I talked with Dex, and I think we can get a show out on Sunday. So to kind of make up for Thursday and Friday not being on, we do have a new setup, and we should be able to collaborate and do more stuff with guests and video guests. So please be patient with that. Pay attention. The Denmark calls for mandatory military service for women. This is really important. Denmark plans compulsory military conscription for women as the Nordic country seeks to significantly boost the size of its armed forces. Why do you think they're doing that? Currently, women can join a volunteer basis, while men generally are required to serve if they are called under a lottery system. Defense Minister announced the plan as his office published conclusions of a biannual report. So not only are they're doing it, they're going to add women. We actually talked about it about a year and a half ago, and they were trying to pass it through to add women to our draft. And then Russia is now at war with NATO in the West. Putin has taken conflict in UKR to a, quote, different stage. That is, of course, a senior EU official admits following Germany's decision to supply tanks. Most all of us are looking at this and seeing that this is an obvious escalation. Whether this is orchestrated and all a circus, there will be real victims on stage. And that's the point that we need to drive home. Whichever one of these, if you believe the mainstream media and every narrative they're telling you, then they're telling you it's doomsday. I'm telling you we have challenging times ahead, and that you need to prepare for these challenging times ahead, and you will do way, way better if you do. And then it says, taking the invasion to a new level, it says the game-changing deal among Western leaders to pump sophisticated tanks into the country to blast through the Kremlin's invading forces has sparked fury in Moscow, which has threatened to escalate the conflict beyond UKR's borders. Mind you, Romania is digging trenches. The 101st Division is digging trenches in Romania. Poland, they are moving the Patriot missile system. Germany is moving their Patriot systems into Poland. You, of course, have actual boots on the ground all along these borders, protecting every inch of NATO territory. And then you have Sweden and Finland rushing to get into NATO. If people don't see what's happening here, I do think, there's partial orchestration here. It's an orchestration to get us into WW3, because during a conflict, Nobody sees, by the way, all of the stuff that goes into play when you're in a war, all of the laws and all of the things that pass, wartime laws are the biggest things ever. For if you want to move something, you don't have to ask anybody. If you want to move money, you don't have to ask anybody. During wartime, a lot of the checks and balances go out the window. If they want something done, they can do it. If they want you to sit, you will sit. If they want you to stand, you stand. If they want to take your land and say, go down the street, you can do that under wartime law. If we are in a massive conflict, they could restructure the entire world order overnight. So people need to realize that there is a purpose and think, well, why would they wouldn't want to take out all these people? Really? We've been talking about this for years. They wouldn't mind. Again, their circle of friends is probably 100 people, 20 people, 10 people, maybe their personal families and their acquaintances of other elites. Do you think they care about the billion people that are living down the street from them? No. Do you think that they care about these people don't even go to big box stores. They don't even go shopping like normal people. They don't go shopping. They go to wherever they want. They might be a tourist in Paris, but they don't go to Walmart. They don't go to Target. They don't go to Fred Meyer. They wouldn't care if those were absolutely, bulldozed. They don't care about any of us. So just remember that we are the stuff that they accidentally step in when they walk in their lawn and they get pissed off. Like, why is this even here? That's how they look at us. So remember that. With people out in the streets right now in all these different cities, I would highly recommend getting over on Twitter and signing up. If you haven't already, if you want to find me there, you can find me at Marfoogle, at Marfoogle. The @ sign and then Marfoogle. You'll be able to find me there. Make sure that it's my picture and the official Marfoogle thing with, I believe, 32,000 followers. So if it's any other number than that, then it's not me and it's somebody else. Also, make sure to go over to marfooglenews.com/prep if you don't have long-term survival food. And I highly recommend people be looking into getting something like an energy solar generator or even a gas-powered generator. If you don't have the money to go get an energy, make sure to be looking at something like a gas-powered generator and a do-it-yourself Faraday cage type of scenario. And then the CIA chief visiting. This is like nuts. So CIA Director Bill Burns is visiting Israel and the West Bank, where he will hold meetings with Israel and Palestinian leaders and intelligence chiefs in a bid to help de-escalate tensions. Mind you, he's there, he said, on Thursday, and his arrival coincides with the major flare-up in violence. But yet they said it was pre-planned. I don't want to remind people, but we covered 3 recent stories where the Bill Burns showed up to somewhere right as some major stuff was going down. And they always say it's pre-planned. And back then we all talked about it. And Foogle fam said, yeah, it's funny because they don't share their pre-planned until after it happens. And then they can basically, they don't show anybody the proof that it was pre-planned. They just said, oh, it was pre-planned. We knew it was coming up. And it said that the CIA declined to comment on Burns' visit, which comes after a trip to Egypt. So whatever's going on there, why are they over there? We don't know. But we do know things are changing, and they're changing rapidly. We are talking on a 5-year timeline or even less. Our entire world is going to be turned upside down. So people need to start paying attention, start watching our show, make sure to get into our show. And our show is going to be improved, and we will be able to have guests. We already have guests lined up. So make sure to subscribe to our sister channel, Marfoogle TV, and make sure to subscribe here if somebody shared this video with you. Thank you guys. Again, my name is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. I love you guys, and I will see you on Sunday, or if there's something really big, again, there's huge stuff, I will check in before that. But I do want to point out, make sure to go over to Twitter because there's information there that I can't tell you here. So thank you guys. Love you. Be safe. Be prepared. And marfooglenews.com is your resource for all of the sources, everything, a full bibliography for every single article, tweet, video, picture, document that I just shared here will be over there. Thanks, guys. Be safe. Be prepared. And Marf out.